Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest updates Baldur's Gate 3 has seen since launch. Patch 8 is here, and it's absolutely packed. The headline? We're getting 12 brand new subclasses. That's right, 12. Each one comes with fresh abilities, unique animations, flashy visual effects, powerful cantrips, and even exclusive summons. It's a major shakeup that's going to change how you build and play your characters in a big way. But wait, that's not all. Patch 8 also drops a brand new photo mode so you can finally capture your party in all their chaotic glory. And guess what? Crossplay is live. You can now party up with your friends no matter what platform they're on. In this video, we're going to break down each of the new subclasses, talk about what makes them special, and rank them based on how game-changing their abilities really are. So grab your dice, because this is going to get wild. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. Alright, let's talk about one of the most chaotic and fun monk subclasses introduced in Patch 8 of Baldur's Gate 3, the Way of the Drunken Master. This subclass does not just give you a cool name and some goofy animations, it actually brings a unique playstyle to the table. At level 4, you get access to a feature called Intoxicating Strike. Now what this does is wild. When you land an unarmed strike on an enemy, you essentially get them drunk. I am not kidding. Mechanically, this gives them disadvantage on dexterity and charisma checks until the effect ends. It is not a game-breaking move on its own, but it sets the stage for what comes next. Because at level 7, the real party starts. That is when you unlock Life of the Party. And no, it is not just a funny name. Every time you use Intoxicating Strike, this new feature kicks in, giving you increased attack rolls against any enemy affected by the drunken condition. What makes it spicy is that there is no stacking limit. You can keep turning enemies into stumbling messes, and then just keep getting better and better at punching them in the face. It is the kind of snowball mechanic that fits the theme perfectly. The more you fight like a drunk brawler, the stronger and more unpredictable you become. What makes this subclass shine is how much flavor it adds to your gameplay. You are not just dealing damage, you are creating chaos on the battlefield, turning fights into bar brawls. It encourages mobility, creativity, and just a touch of recklessness. Combine it with the monk's innate agility, and suddenly you are zipping around the map, slurring your words, dodging attacks like you are made of rubber, and knocking people out with a grin on your face. The Way of the Drunken Master is not just a subclass, it is a vibe. And in Baldur's Gate 3, it is one hell of a good time. Alright, let's talk about one of the coolest fighter subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3 Patch 8, the Arcane Archer. Now I know what you might be thinking. Isn't fighter just hit things and don't die? Well, Arcane Archer flips that on its head. You are still doing the classic fighter things, swinging weapons, taking hits like a champ. But now, you have magic-infused arrows that turn you into a tactical powerhouse. It is like giving Legolas a wizard's toolbox and telling him to go nuts. What really makes Arcane Archer shine is the variety of arcane shot options you unlock as you level up. Each one adds a different flavor to your shots, from charming enemies to bursting them down with force damage or manipulating the battlefield in clever ways. And here is the fun part. You are not locked into one choice forever. You can actually swap your shot types around as you level, so you are never stuck with something that does not fit your current playstyle or party needs. It is like carrying a quiver full of surprises and pulling out exactly the arrow you need for the moment. Now, my personal favorite, Banishing Arrow. This one is just ridiculously satisfying. You hit an enemy, and if they fail their saving throw, poof. They are yeeted into the Feywild temporarily. In a big chaotic fight, this gives you some sweet crowd control by taking one problem off the board, while the rest of the party catches their breath. It is not just flashy, it is tactical. And the best part? As you gain levels, you get more uses of these magical shots, so you can be tossing out Arcane Mayhem more often. Honestly, Arcane Archer brings such a fun mix of magic and martial. It is hard to go back to regular arrows after this. Alright, let's talk about one of the coolest rogue subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3 Patch 8, Swashbuckler. If you have ever wanted to be the kind of character who can dance through combat with style, flair, and a little bit of sass, this is the subclass for you. The Swashbuckler Rogue is all about speed, charm, and precision. You are not just stabbing people, you are doing it with a grin and a spin. It feels incredibly satisfying to zip around the battlefield, strike with deadly accuracy, and then just casually stroll away like nothing happened. One of the standout features of this subclass is how it leans into one-on-one combat. The Swashbuckler shines when it is just you and one enemy in a duel of wits and reflexes. Thanks to your boosted mobility and the ability to trigger sneak attack without needing advantage or an ally nearby, you can keep your momentum going even when you are outnumbered. It is a fast, fluid playstyle that rewards positioning and timing, which makes every turn feel like a mini action scene from a pirate movie. And let us not forget the dirty tricks you get at level 4. This is where things get really fun. You gain access to mechanics like throwing pocket sand in your enemies' faces. Yes, actual pocket sand, which blinds them and gives you a serious edge in battle. It is not just effective, it is hilarious. You feel like the kind of rogue who fights with brains just as much as blades, always one step ahead, always ready with a trick up the sleeve. Whether you are weaving between enemies or pulling off flashy stunts, the Swashbuckler Rogue is pure fun from start to finish. If you are looking to spice up your Ranger playthrough in Baldur's Gate 3, then the Swarmkeeper subclass might just be your new best friend. This subclass introduces a whole new layer of strategy and flair, letting you summon swarms of spirit creatures to fight alongside you. What is super fun about it is that you are not locked into just one type of swarm. Every time you level up, you can actually choose a different kind of spirit swarm to fit your playstyle. Maybe you want to control the battlefield and keep enemies at bay. Go with the bees. They can push enemies around and even give you a quick getaway by letting you teleport out of sticky situations. But let us talk about the real showstopper, the jellyfish swarm. This one is just so cool. Instead of buzzing or fluttering around, your spectral jellyfish zap enemies with shocking power, adding a jolt of extra damage to your attacks. It feels incredibly satisfying to slam an arrow into a goblin and watch a ghostly jellyfish float out and electrocute them. It is not just for flavor either. Those shocks can turn the tide of a fight, especially when you are up against multiple enemies and need a little crowd control to survive. As you climb in levels, your swarms become even more impressive. They are not just visual flair, they hit harder, move smarter, and give you more tactical options in combat. Late-game Swarmkeeper Rangers are genuinely terrifying in the best way. You are not just a lone archer in the woods anymore. You are a commander of mystical creatures, bending the battlefield to your will, and watching your enemies panic as a storm of spiritual beasts descends on them. Trust me, it is not just fun, it is a total power trip. Alright, let's talk about one of the most stylish and supportive subclasses in Patch 8 for Baldur's Gate 3, the College of Glamour Bard. If you are the kind of player who wants to shine both on and off the battlefield, this subclass is absolutely your stage. With the feature Mantle of Inspiration, you can dish out a generous dose of temporary hit points to your entire squad, and it is not just about the healing. The real kicker is when those temporarily boosted allies get hit by a melee attack, the attacker gets charmed. Yes, you heard that right. Your enemies get so dazzled by your fabulous energy that they start thinking twice about throwing hands. As you level up, the support power only gets better. The number of allies you can affect with Mantle of Inspiration grows, and so does the amount of temporary hit points you provide. This makes you an incredible asset in tougher fights, where just surviving one more round can mean the difference between a clutch win or a total wipe. Plus, the charm effect is not just a gimmick. It can really mess up enemy strategy, giving your team the edge to turn the tide of battle. And then there is Mantle of Majesty, which is basically you commanding the spotlight and your enemies. This feature lets you cast the command spell, making enemies walk toward you, which, let's be honest, is kind of hilarious and super handy for setting up traps or repositioning them. The catch? You can only use it once per long rest, so you have to time it right, but when it lands, it feels amazing. Overall, if you want to be the team's emotional support bard and still leave your enemies swooning, College of Glamour is where the magic happens. The Death Domain Cleric is one of those subclasses that makes you raise an eyebrow and go, wait, clerics can do that? While most people picture clerics as the healers and protectors in the backline, the Death Domain flips that idea right on its head. This subclass is all about dealing heavy damage, especially necrotic damage, and wading into the chaos of battle like a dark avenger of the gods. At the base level, you get a really spicy feature called Reaper. This lets your necromancy cantrips, think things like Toll the Dead or Chill Touch, hit 2 targets instead of just 1. And the kicker? It deals double damage. Early game, that's massive. Suddenly, your cantrip isn't just chip damage, it's a mini fireball with a dark twist. Now let's talk about the real showstopper, the Channel Divinity feature, Touch of Death. This one turns your melee hits into full-on soul-ripping slaps. When you land a melee attack, you can pump in a burst of necrotic damage on top of it. This is not just a little extra sting, this is turn the tide of battle kind of damage. What makes this extra fun is that it opens up the idea of playing your cleric a bit more aggressively. You are not just hanging back and healing, you're charging in, laying down judgment in the name of your deity and melting faces while you're at it. What really sets the Death Domain cleric apart in Baldur's Gate 3, especially in the Patch 8 meta, is the versatility. You are still a full spellcaster with access to cleric staples like Guiding Bolt and Spirit Guardians, but now you also have this offensive edge that makes you a real threat. Whether you're clearing out groups of enemies with your empowered cantrips or dishing out big single-target hits with Touch of Death, this subclass gives you a taste of that dark power fantasy without sacrificing utility. It is a subclass that rewards bold moves and makes every combat turn feel like a chance to do something cool. If you have ever dreamed of going full kaiju mode in Baldur's Gate 3, then the Barbarian's Path of the Giant subclass from Patch 8 is exactly what you are looking for. This path literally lets you grow in size. Yes, you become a towering force of pure fury. And while that alone is enough to make anyone feel unstoppable, the real kicker is how it doubles your rage bonus on thrown weapon attacks. So not only do you look like a beast, you are launching javelins like they are meteor strikes. As you level up, things get even more fun. At higher levels, you actually gain the ability to punt enemies across the battlefield. No joke, you can kick them like they are sacks of potatoes. This is not just flashy, it is incredibly strategic, letting you control enemy positioning in a way few other classes can. Imagine raging, throwing your weapon for massive damage, then kicking a goblin off a cliff just for good measure. It is the kind of chaotic energy that makes combat feel way more dynamic. Now here is where it gets spicy. At level 6, you unlock an elemental upgrade for your weapons. Every time you throw one, it just zips back into your hand like some magical boomerang. And while it is on its return trip, it picks up a little elemental flair. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Your choice. This means every throw hits like a mini-spell, adding versatility and flair to your arsenal. So not only are you a giant rage monster, but you are also a walking elemental blender. Tell me that does not sound like the most fun you can have in a turn-based fight. Blade Singing Wizard is hands down one of the coolest subclass options you can pick in Patch 8 of Baldur's Gate 3. If you have ever wanted to be that elegant sword-wielding spellcaster who dances through combat like it's a performance, this is your moment. The Blade Singing subclass gives you a unique blend of martial flair and arcane power, something you do not really get with other wizard builds. It lets you wade into the fight rather than staying glued to the backlines. You are still a wizard, yes, but now you are a wizard with a blade and a serious attitude. The heart of this subclass is a feature called Blade Song. You can activate it twice per long rest at first, and when you do, it is like flipping a switch into battle mode. Your armor class gets a sweet bonus based on your intelligence, your movement speed increases by 3 meters, and you also gain a bonus to Constitution saving throws equal to your proficiency bonus. That last one is a big deal. Keeping concentration on your spells while getting up close and personal is way easier when you have that bonus backing you up. Now this does not mean you are suddenly a fighter. You are still made of paper when compared to actual frontliners, so picking your battles and knowing when to trigger Blade Song is key. Think of it like this. You are a spellblade, not a tank. Jump in, slice through enemies with some finesse. Maybe throw out a Misty Step or a shield when things get hairy, and then slip out before someone turns you into a wizard-flavored pancake. When played right, the Blade Singing Wizard feels like you are constantly walking the line between control and chaos. And honestly, that is what makes it so fun. If you are playing a paladin in Baldur's Gate 3 and you want to be the kind of hero who says, "No one dies on my watch," then the Oath of the Crown might just be your new best friend. This subclass is all about loyalty, protection, and keeping your party on their feet even when the odds are stacked against you. It turns you into the shield of your team, literally and metaphorically. From the get-go, you are buffing your allies' attack rolls, giving them that extra edge in combat, and making everyone look at you like the real MVP. At level 3, things start to get spicy. You unlock abilities that let you taunt enemies, drawing their attention away from your squishier friends and onto your beefy, armor-clad self. And get this, you can heal your allies just by yelling at them. It is like being the team dad who shouts people back into shape. "Get up, soldier!" And boom, they are back in the fight. It is incredibly fun to play, and gives your paladin this commanding presence that goes beyond just swinging a sword and smiting evil. Later on, once you have earned your stripes, you unlock Divine Allegiance, and that is where things get real. This feature lets you redirect damage taken by an ally and take it yourself, as long as they are close enough. It is one of the best defensive tools in the game and feels like a superhero moment every single time. Someone is about to go down, but no, you dive in and take the hit for them. It is the ultimate bodyguard move, and it fits so perfectly with the Crown Paladin's whole "for the greater good" vibe. Alright, so let's dive into the Shadow Magic Sorcerer subclass from Patch 8 of Baldur's Gate 3. This one's got a real dark vibe to it, and if you like the idea of controlling the shadows and using them to your advantage, then you're in for a treat. First things first, you get to see in the dark. Like, literally, you can ignore darkness and still spot everything around you. No more fumbling around in dark dungeons or getting ambushed by enemies who think they have the upper hand. But it doesn't stop there. You can create a dark cloud that blinds your enemies, making it easier for you to deal some serious damage while they're stumbling around, completely disoriented. As you level up, your shadow magic abilities get even cooler. One of the standout features is the ability to summon a demon hound. This little guy's not just for show. It's got some serious power. You can apply powerful omens to it, each one offering a different effect on your enemies. For example, some omens might weaken them, make them more vulnerable to attacks, or mess with their ability to fight back. The real kicker here is that if you match your attack's elemental damage with the omen you've placed on your hound, you get to regain sorcery points. Yep, you're literally fueling your magic while making your enemies suffer. So, why does this matter? Well, that balance between offense and regaining sorcery points is a game changer. You'll be able to keep dishing out powerful spells without running out of resources, all while your hound does its thing, debuffing your enemies and applying pressure. It's a brilliant subclass for anyone who loves that mix of strategy and power. If you're into dark magic, summoning creatures, and using the shadows to outsmart your foes, the Shadow Magic Sorcerer is definitely worth a look in Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, let's talk about one of the coolest subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3, the Circle of Stars for Druids. This one gives you the unique ability to tap into the power of constellations. When you shift into your starry form, you get to pick between 3 different forms, each offering a special advantage. You could go for the Archer, where you shoot radiant arrows as a bonus action, perfect for ranged damage. Imagine casting arrows that not only look awesome, but also deal some serious damage to your enemies. But wait, there's more. You also have the Chalice form, which is great for healing. Not only can you heal yourself, but you can heal your allies as well, as long as they're close by. It's like a supportive boost that helps keep everyone alive and in fighting shape. You can cast healing as a bonus action, which is especially handy during tough battles where timing is crucial. If you like being the team player who keeps everyone topped off, this one's for you. Lastly, there's the Dragon form. This one's super fun, especially if you enjoy some flair in your attacks. With this form, you can unleash a dazzling breath weapon, dealing radiant damage to all enemies in a line. It's a nice way to deal some extra burst damage and really show off in battle. Overall, the Circle of Stars is a fantastic subclass because it lets you mix it up depending on the situation. Whether you want to be a powerful healer, a ranged damage dealer, or a flashy dragon-breathing force, there's a form that fits your playstyle perfectly. Let's talk about one of the most exciting subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3, the Hexblade Warlock. This subclass is perfect for players who want to combine magic with melee combat. The moment you pick this subclass, you get a magical weapon thanks to the Pact of the Blade, and it allows you to use Charisma as your attack modifier instead of Strength or Dexterity. That means you can play with a sword or any weapon and still rely on your charisma stat for your attacks. How cool is that? It's a perfect option if you're more into role-playing a powerful and charming character who can swing a sword and cast magic without missing a beat. At level 1, you gain some seriously powerful abilities, like the Hexblade's Curse. This curse is a game changer. It lets you deal extra damage to your target, and on top of that, it makes it easier for you to land critical hits against that target. This is such a handy skill, especially when you need that extra edge in tough battles. But wait, it gets better. The more you level up as a Hexblade, the more abilities you unlock, and trust me, they only get cooler and more devastating. This subclass really scales well as you progress, giving you more options and making you feel like a true magical warrior. And the best part? The Hexblade Warlock is all about versatility. You get a mix of high damage potential from your weapons and magical abilities that make you unpredictable in combat. Whether you want to focus on dealing high damage or supporting your team with spells, this subclass has something for everyone. Plus, the added flexibility of using charisma for your attacks opens up so many build possibilities that you can really customize your character to your playstyle. If you're aiming for a deadly but charismatic hero, the Hexblade Warlock could be just the subclass you're looking for in Baldur's Gate 3. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.